Okay, good morning. Welcome to Morning Rumblings, an audio-only bedhead tech news podcast. Let's share that first cup of coffee and catch up on the overnight tech news together. Welcome to Episode 7. We're going to start off with a good news story. This was something that Apple was planning on doing in the EU. They were behaving like a toddler, basically. They were very upset at the fact that they were being forced to do different things, basically forced by the EU to add the USB-C connection to all of their devices. The EU is also forcing them to give alternative app stores so that people have choices. It's a good idea. I mean, I understand Apple's position. They get a ton of their revenue. They're taking 30% off the top just for the pleasure of being on the Apple App Store. So the EU is thinking that's not competitive, that's not fair, so we're forcing Apple to have alternative app stores. Apple's pushing back with that and still charging for access, and basically, they're not happy. And then what they decided to do was they did I'll do this kind of thing. So basically behaving like a toddler, they said that they were going to remove progressive web apps from devices in the EU. Progressive web apps are really good no matter what. Listen, no matter what Apple says about this, they're a really good security option for people. For the most part, browsers are sandboxed and very secure if everything is implemented properly. So you have companies that have web apps. So these are not drop-in replacements, but very, very good usable web pages. You go to the website, you log in with your credentials, you go to share. You can actually save that page to your home screen as an app. And now when you open the app, it has a lot of the same functionality of the actual mobile app. So without installing the app on your device. So if you have a slightly older phone, maybe you don't have a ton of storage, this is an option for you. And a lot of people in IT security prefer to use progressive web apps when they can. This was a huge issue when Apple said that they were going to remove this. So I don't know whether they finally just gave in, whatever. I don't know what their reason is. Apple always has reasons why they give in. They're allowing progressive web apps to stay EU phones. So that means that we shouldn't have to worry in the US that this is coming to our shores soon, that they would be blocking progressive web apps. So Apple gave in, and progressive web apps live to fight another day. That's a win for privacy, and also a win for people who have old iPhones that are still receiving security updates, but they don't have a ton of room on the phone. They can continue to use progressive web apps instead of downloading apps. Yeah, so story number 1. Okay, another story that we're going to take a look at today is Microsoft pulls Edge update causing out-of-memory crashes. This is a bleeping computer story. To be safe online, you have to do your operating system updates and you have to do your application updates. Unfortunately, there's no choice. You can't say that you're not going to install the updates and you're not going to reboot your devices, because then you become a problem child to everybody else on the internet because your system's not protected. And then they can get in onto your system and then get into your friend's system because you're now sending them malicious links because your system's not protected. And yeah, so it's like this ugly thing that happens if some of us don't do the updates, right? So yes, you, that get off my lawn person that doesn't want to do the updates, just do your updates. Be a good internet citizen and make sure that you actually do your updates. Don't leave yourself susceptible infection from all of these things that have been patched. On occasion, there's going to be really annoying issues caused by doing the updates. So this one, after all that being said, Microsoft pulls Edge update causing out-of-memory crashes. So yeah, if you are using Microsoft Edge as your primary browser, which is the default browser on Windows, you may have received a really fun warning, ! And not enough memory to open this page. Then it says, try exiting other programs to free up memory. So here's the thing. It's really difficult, Microsoft, when you give warnings that are not accurate as to what is going on. That message seems to imply it's not me, it's you, right? So not enough memory to open the page. Try exiting other programs to free up memory. The error message is basically saying, yeah, no, look away. It's not me that's causing this issue. it's something else on your computer. Maybe if you shut down that other thing, I'll be able to continue working properly. But the issue is actually Microsoft Edge. It had a memory issue where it was consuming large amounts of memory and then causing out of memory errors, while browsing. If you go into the app right now, the latest version ends in 66. So 122.0.2365.66. Hopefully this resolves the issue, but you are not imagining things. Edge was indeed saying it's not me, it's the other guy in your browser with the not enough memory to open this page error. So hopefully that's all straightened out, and these things do happen. You have to remember that Edge is built on top of Chromium. Google Chrome, also built on top of Chromium, has a long history of memory issues, where if you leave your computer running with the browser open, Chrome will continue to eat up memory the longer it's left running. For you folks out there that leave your browser running all day, do yourself a favor. Close it down once in a while. You know what? Because when it restarts, it checks for updates. We actually have videos on our It's a Safer Way. We have a few videos that go into how you can start your browser, where the first tab is the update page. We actually set the first page as the settings about page. So when the browser launches, you can automatically see that there is an update available, and then just let it finish and click the restart and then start your day. So that way you're starting off safer. That's that story. So Microsoft breaks things and fixes things. Just another day. Just another day. All right, this one is from Ars Technica. This one is an ongoing thing. Something really needs to be done about these ransomware gangs. There's kind of like a code. If a hospital or something medical got hit, it was because it was collateral damage. Way back in the day, the NotPetya, the Russians were going against the Ukrainians in cyber warfare, and the thing got out. It was supposed to be a targeted attack against Ukraine, and it got out, and it kind of went worldwide, and it ended up crippling hospitals. It was a more civilized time when even the bad guys knew that it wasn't okay to take out a children's cancer hospital, because that's just, next level wrong. And even the bad guys, knew that was something you just didn't do. Well, they don't care anymore. This has been in the news for at least a couple weeks. Ars Technica, U.S. prescription market hamstrung for 9 days so far by a ransomware attack. Patients having trouble getting life-saving meds have the ALPHAV crime group to thank. 9 days after a Russian-speaking ransomware syndicate took down the biggest U.S. healthcare payment processing, pharmacies, healthcare providers, and patients were scrambling to fill prescriptions for medicines, many of which are life-saving. They took down a company called Optum with ransomware. It says this affected roughly 70,000 pharmacies in the U.S. The cyber attack against Change Healthcare that began on February 21st is the most serious incident of its kind leveled against a U.S. healthcare association. Citing Change Healthcare data, Polex said that the service processed 15 billion transactions involving eligibility verifications, pharmacy operations, and claim transmittals and payments. All of these have been disrupted to varying degrees over the past several days, and the full impact is still unknown. Optum estimates that as of Monday, more than 90% of roughly 70,000 pharmacies in the U.S. had changed how they process electronic claims as a result of the outage. So this is an ongoing thing. And if you are in ALPHAV, maybe, find something else to do. Maybe there's something else you like to do. You could plant a garden, set up a bird feeder, start jogging in the morning, do a video blog of yourself jogging in the morning to try to make a little extra money. You don't need to be doing what you're doing. ALPHAV, come on. It's time to do something else. Okay, so that's 3 stories today. We're going to end there. Thank you for coming along for the ride. Thank you for listening to me as I go through the stories, maybe look at them through angles that you haven't thought of. If you like this, if you found this entertaining, then, please give it a like. If you think that you wouldn't mind listening to this kind of thing on a regular basis, click on the subscribe. Again, thanks for coming along for the ride, and we'll talk to you in the next one. Have a great day.